Welcome back to NightStoryHQ, your home for chilling tales where the shadows whisper and the past refuses to stay buried. Tonight, we invite you to step into the story of a young family whose dream home turned into a waking nightmare. What started as a fresh chapter quickly spiraled into a descent into terror as the house itself seemed to breathe, remember, and cry out with the anguish of its forgotten past. Stay with us as we unravel the story of the house that remembers, a place where sorrow never died, and fear only grew louder. Let's begin. It started like many other new beginnings. Ethan and Marissa Taylor, along with their 5-year-old daughter Lily, had just moved from the city to the quiet, wooded town of Delridge. Their new home was an old Victorian-style house nestled at the end of a winding gravel road, tall, regal, and far more affordable than anything they'd seen in months. They called it a miracle, a stroke of luck, their forever home. But the neighbors never quite made eye contact when they heard the address. And the realtor, despite his cheerful demeanor, hadn't stayed a moment longer than necessary during the walkthrough. The Taylors brushed it off. Old houses had stories, sure, but they weren't superstitious. Not yet. The first few nights were peaceful. Lily loved the creaky staircase and the Princess Tower attic. Marissa started planting a garden. Ethan set up his home office. The silence of the countryside wrapped them in a kind of peace they hadn't known before. Then the cold spots started. It began with a chill in the upstairs hallway, where the temperature would drop sharply, even on warm days. Then came the smells. Cigarette smoke in Lily's room, though no one smoked. A musty scent of mildew in the parlor, though they'd scrubbed it top to bottom. At first they made excuses. Old plumbing, bad insulation, until Lily started talking to someone they couldn't see. "She says she used to live here," Lily said one morning at breakfast, holding her cereal spoon like a microphone. "Who?" Ethan asked, glancing at Marissa. "The lady in the hallway. She has sad eyes." Marissa laughed nervously. "Imaginary friend already? That was fast." Lily didn't smile. "She cries a lot. She wants me to find her baby." They told themselves kids had vivid imaginations. It was nothing. Probably a response to the move, the new surroundings. But at night, Ethan would lie awake and hear crying down the hall, soft and distant, like someone sobbing into a pillow. When he checked, Lily would be fast asleep. Marissa started seeing things out of the corner of her eye, shadows that darted across rooms, reflections in mirrors that didn't match her own movement. The sound of footsteps above her when the second floor was empty, drawers opening by themselves, lights flickering only in certain rooms. The dog, Charlie, barked incessantly at the cellar door and refused to go near it. But the true turning point came one evening when Marissa opened the attic and found it untouched. Though the rest of the house had been cleaned, renovated, and emptied of the previous owner's things, the attic was different. Dusty, dark, and still full of old furniture, broken toys, faded photographs, and most disturbingly, dozens of handwritten notes nailed to the walls. Each one said only a few words. "I'm still here. Don't listen to her. It's in the floor. We were happy once. Get out." She called Ethan upstairs. Together, they stared at the words in silence. Neither spoke of what they were both thinking. Someone had been desperate, maybe insane, or perhaps trying to warn them. They sealed the attic. That night, the whispering began. It was Lily who grew the most distant. She became quiet, withdrawn, and always stared at the same corner of her bedroom. When Ethan asked her what she was looking at, she said, "The woman doesn't like you. She wants Mommy to stay with her." Marissa began waking up with bruises on her arms and legs, cold, blue-black welts, as if something had gripped her in her sleep. The nightmares followed. Visions of a woman in a long dress, standing in fire, holding a crying baby, screaming names over and over. They tried to leave for a weekend, packed the car, locked the house. But as they turned onto the main road, the car engine died. The mechanic found nothing wrong. When they returned, the house smelled like burnt hair. The front door was wide open. Desperate, Ethan began researching the house. He found old newspaper clippings about a family who lived there in the 1960s. The father had vanished without a trace. The mother, Elena Harrow, had been institutionalized after neighbors found her digging up the backyard in the middle of the night, convinced her baby had been buried alive. There had been other stories. Tenants who broke leases early, families who refused to talk about their time in the house, a pattern of deaths, sudden, tragic, and always within 2 years of moving in. The Taylors had been there 4 months. Marissa tried reaching out to the local historical society. When she met the archivist, a soft-spoken man in his 70s, he paled at the mention of the address. "That house doesn't want company," he said. "It feeds on sorrow. Every family that's entered has left something behind, or didn't leave at all." One night, Ethan heard Marissa screaming. He found her in the cellar, though she swore she hadn't walked down there herself. The door had been locked, yet she was inside, barefoot, eyes wide with terror. "There's something in the walls," she whispered. "I heard it breathing." They began hearing thumping noises behind the plaster, scratching in the vents. The mirrors started fogging up on their own, words appearing in the condensation. "She's mine. Don't take her. The house remembers." They couldn't take it anymore. On their last night in the house, Ethan made the call. They were leaving, no matter what. They would abandon the mortgage, the furniture, everything. They packed what they could in a single night. But Lily disappeared. They searched every room, called her name, screamed, tore through closets and cupboards. Nothing. Then Marissa remembered the attic. They hadn't opened it in weeks. When they pulled the ladder down, the air turned icy. The lights flickered violently, and at the top, standing in the dust, was Lily, unmoving, staring at the far wall. Ethan ran to her. Behind her, carved into the wall in jagged scratches, were the words, "She stays." A shadow passed over them. The wind howled through the house. The door slammed shut behind them. The attic shook. Then, silence. Ethan grabbed Lily and broke the door down. They ran. They never went back. The Taylors moved far away to a small apartment in the city. They spoke of the house only in hushed tones. Lily didn't remember much, only that she sometimes dreamt of a woman crying behind her walls. Years later, the house still stands, empty, for sale, cheap. And at night, some say they see a woman in the upstairs window, holding a child, waiting. Stories like this one remind us that houses, like people, have memories. They carry emotional weight, trauma, sorrow, fear, and sometimes that energy lingers long after the living have gone. In this tale, the escalation of supernatural events mirrors the psychological breakdown of the family, each phenomenon growing stronger as they uncover more of the house's tragic past. It's not just a haunting, it's an emotional imprint, playing on the fears and vulnerabilities of those who dwell within. The concept of a house that remembers is deeply unsettling. It suggests that no matter how much time has passed, pain can persist. It becomes more than just a structure. It becomes a vessel of grief. And those who enter may unknowingly step into someone else's unresolved story, forced to relive it or become part of it. Perhaps what's most terrifying is the idea that some places don't just haunt, they hunger. Thank you for joining us tonight on Night Story HQ. If this tale of the house that remembers gave you chills, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more haunting stories from the edge of the unknown. And tell us, have you ever felt a house watch you? Heard whispers in the dark? or walked into a room and felt the cold hand of a past not your own. Until next time, keep your doors locked, your lights on, and your ears open, because some stories never stop echoing. Good night.